folks, this is Umineko, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 26. In the last episode, we finished off the first day and started the second. Well, we're at the very start of it now. And I think the biggest thing to happen was that all the adults were in the church, the Schmeier Mansion church, and they admitted that Beatrice must be a witch. So, we're going to kick things off now, as we've made it to the second day again, which is when the witching hour kind of starts, so things should start getting a bit more interesting now. I've enjoyed it so far, but you know what I mean, more actiony maybe. What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of the rain, the sound of a waterfall, or could it be radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I'm still alive. Oh, Kinzo. Is it morning? The light entering through a crack in the curtain was faint, but it at least told him that dawn had broken. Kinzo, still in the position he'd been when he woke up, still sitting in a chair and looking up at the ceiling, felt the blood slowly travel throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early morning, 6 a.m. on the dot. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think of this as something to boast about, but he told himself that as long as he could still manage this, his health couldn't be that bad. Morning has come, which means... It would appear I've avoided becoming one of the first sacrifices. Was I merely lucky when the roulette was spun, or was this the fruit of my efforts? How irritating that I cannot tell the difference, but I mustn't be bothered by such trivialities. Kinzo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the study door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door, a sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices. Humans are cheap creatures. Even though everything is ultimately decided by God, when humans are given good fortune, they arrogantly feel it was due to their own ability. That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on the door. The very desire was human, and that was why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in a feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself had become a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were, and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. This eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits as he revived the Ashurmaya family in a single generation. Well then, Beatrice, what were the 6 pieces you took? And what will your next move be? Entertain me. My defense is perfect. I will not shame myself like last time. Who are they? Oh! The servants woke early. They had to open the curtains, prepare breakfast, complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. Goda was the most enthusiastic. During the family conference, he had been told to concentrate his efforts especially on cooking, and he had been specially exempted from several tasks that servants normally must do. Goda, who was a show-off, seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. He let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion, and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji split the work with Shannon and Kanon, and they carried out various tasks, so it doesn't look like the servants have been selected this time. Shannon headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked. But there was no response, so she opened the door and said good morning. Good morning. Is anyone there? The room was cold, and the conference seemed to have ended a long time before. There was a tea set on the table from which they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up the tea was a servant's job. If the family members were extra generous and cleaned it up themselves, the servants would lose face. So it was a truly pleasant act of kindness for the family to do only this much. As she approached the table to clean it, she noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Since it was right next to the tea set, Shannon picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servant doing the cleaning. Written there was not a request, nor was it thanks for preparing the tea. There was just a single word. Shannon looked at it blankly and read it out loud. Chapel. Aha, where all the adults were heading. In that one scene. Oh, what? A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally, that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. But no matter how much time passed, the sound did not end. It repeated over and over. Ah, shut up. Who is it? Banging on the door this whole time. As soon as she realised that, she woke up. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed that it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well. Rosa-sama? Rosa-sama? Good morning. Wait, I'm coming now. It had been Genji's voice. Looking at the clock, it wasn't even 7 o'clock yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Did something happen that was bad enough to cause this? She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to this premonition of misfortune. Though Genji was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered. Good morning. I apologize for waking you this early. Did something happen? Yes. Actually, at the chapel. Genji whispered something into Rosa's ear. For a second, it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she'd been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed her door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji towards the mansion. The chapel requires some explanation. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. It had been built at the same time as the mansion, so though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look new from the outside, it was a very old building. Rosa dashed through the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Eventually, the chapel came into sight from beyond a thin grove. Just looking at it from the outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty, where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. That's a big chapel. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place, so Rosa and her siblings had been given strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Even though they were all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty, and also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. The servants' silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance. Goda, Shannon, Cannon, which meant that all of the servants on the morning shift had gathered. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. On the door at the entrance to the chapel was something very large, drawn with a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. What is this? When was it drawn here? The servants looked at each other. Goda was the first to open his mouth. My apologies. We don't usually enter this building, so we don't know when it was made. Then who was the first person to find it? It was me. When I went to the dining hall to clean up the tea set, I found a memo with chapel written on it. Shannon held out the memo with a shaking hand. Whose handwriting is it? It isn't Nissan's or Nissan's. So after that, you came here and found this, right? Yes. Rosa-sama, look at this. What? Happy Halloween for... What? Cannon pointed at a single line of English written below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, she thought it was just another part of the magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Happy Halloween for Maria? This creepy magic circle was for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch, Beatrice. What about Maria? She should be sleeping with her cousins, right? Did you check? My apologies. We just now realised that Maria-sama's name was written here. We still have not checked. Quickly. What are you doing? I'll go check on Maria and come back. Tell Kraus-Nissan and the rest too. After that, follow their instructions. After saying that much, Rosa finally noticed that something was odd. Her own rank in this family conference was the lowest of the 4 siblings. Why had she been the only one called during an abnormal situation like this, when the other siblings hadn't been? Even if Maria's name had popped up. Could it be? What? Yes. We tried to contact Kraushammer, but we couldn't find him. And Madam was not in her room. Judging by the condition of the sheets, she might not have returned to her bed at all last night. Rosa felt something creepy crawling slowly up her back. Did you check inside the chapel? Not yet. We tried, but... Actually, the lock to the chapel is special, so the master key will not work. There's a single key that can open it, but that key is missing from the key box. She didn't want to get closer to the door with the creepy magic circle if she could. Rosa readied herself and approached, then tried pushing and pulling the knob. All she felt was the resistance of the sturdy lock. We searched to see if there was a window we could enter through, but I think we'd have to break one of the windows if we wanted to check inside. What do you think? There's no way I can give you approval to do something like that. This is Father's precious chapel. At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right, when I met that witch in the rose garden, didn't she hand Maria an envelope? Yeah, it's no mistake. She did hand it over. When Maria tried to open it, the witch told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "The time to open it, that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. The envelope Maria had received was... Was what? Had she opened it? After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached the cousin room while hiding her footsteps, softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores typical of young people. There were 4 children, and Maria was there, sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which was resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating how her mother always carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. In Maria's case, it was full of small, creepy, occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't girlish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop had resulted in a big fight, so she decided to let it be. Here. This is it. A western envelope with the crest of the gold eagle. When she took it out of the bag, she realised there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feel and its weight. There was no doubt. This was a key. After turning around and checking that Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope and the contents spilled out into her palm. It was a key with an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Battler seemed to have noticed that sound, but after grumbling and turning over in his sleep, he started snoring again. It's gotta be the church key, isn't it? Genji-san, could this key be the key to the chapel? Where did you... Yes, this is the key to the chapel. Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again and put the key in the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resisting with a clunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurt one's ears, it slowly began to open. Is anyone there? Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. The chapel had a high ceiling and the air was cold. And even on this rainy and settling day, it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa. Rosa-sama, look at that. Kana noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar. In the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love, there was a table that shouldn't have been there. At first it looked like a dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. Upon closer inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. And there were people seated at the table. 3 people on each side facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognised at a glance. Kraus and his wife, Eva and her husband, Rudolph and his wife, all the adults except for Rosa. Parents, I should say. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd still have to go even closer and check. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rosa and the rest had opened the door, entered all at once with the sound of many footsteps, and called out, asking if anyone was there. And yet, there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. And there hadn't even been that. So at first, it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now, it wasn't just Rosa. Shannon and Cannon, even Goda, they were all fighting frantically with a creepy emotion that grasped their hearts. Nissan? Nissan? As she walked towards the altar, she called out again, but there was still no reaction. Yes, by now Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, but the people themselves. They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. Still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pitchers with drinks, all kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. They were all decorated in a Halloween style. And while this probably wasn't the time to be thinking it, Maria would surely have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small, fun-looking Halloween party had been stopped in time. They were all sleeping. When she approached even closer to them, she realised that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, soda and chocolates, all with heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across a carpet covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. Uah! Rosa and the rest finally realised what the situation was. It was a Halloween party, a banquet for those not of this world. Kraus, Natsui, Eva, Hideyoshi, Rudolph and Kyrie were seated in chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. How could you tell that they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they'd been vertically sliced open. Kraus-sama! Hey! How cruel. The 6 of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. Then the jam covering the floor must be what overflowed from their stomachs once they'd stuffed themselves completely, right? No, the contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. And that wasn't all. Out of their stomachs, it was almost as though they'd poured out. As though snacks had overflowed from there. Candies and cookies, soda and chocolates had poured out, stained with blood, and had scattered across the floor. What could have happened to cause this? It's almost as though their stomachs were stuffed full to bursting with sweets, and it all poured out when their stomachs split open, pinata style. Rosa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at her own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, out flowed one of her favourite foods. But since she hadn't been told what was inside, the deep red ketchup omelette rice poured out like bloody maggots. Pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulpy, squelching. Oi! The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt a monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fun Halloween party now. The 3 couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a gurgaba. Yeah, so many snacks had been stuffed in there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Blood-stained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together. Gummy. But stained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was that I stepped on just now? That didn't feel like a candy, or cookie, or soda, or chocolate. I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away, it had looked truly beautiful, fantastical, fun. But from up close, it was horrible, disgusting, and yet somehow still beautiful. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her throat with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar. Klaus-Hammer, this is horrible, just horrible. Call an ambulance. Call the police. That's right, the police. Please, 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 please. If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Golda's mouth, Rosa and the rest would probably have found themselves unable to escape that nightmarish party even now. But it wasn't because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, it felt as though another seat might be set up at this demon's party and given to them. Their own chests felt like they were expanding unpleasantly from the inside, rumbling, churning, and it was surely because candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, once again tortured by a desire to vomit, threw her stomach acid up on the floor, and then she searched to see if there was any candy in it. Anyway, Rosa coughed violently again, forcefully spitting out the stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. She realised that by now, her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat. Genji-san, Shannon-chan, please contact father and ask for instructions. Goda-san, go with Kanon-kun and call the police. Then, have Dr. Nanjo come here. Why even bring Dr. Nanjo here? It's a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stayed at her siblings, with whom she'd spent good times and bad, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene, for some reason she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful. This is interesting. To me, more of an interesting first sacrifice night day event than from the first arc. Is better. It's more of a Halloween theme, more Maria related, which is quite nice. It's just funny now, the only parent left alive is Rosa, who last time our main adult was Natsui, who had all the headaches and everything. She did well, she made it to the end, but, you know, maybe Rosa can do a bit better? They aren't here. Where'd they go? The servant room and the kitchen are both empty. What in the world happened? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Mama! Where's Mama? My letter! The letter I got from Bito! Give it back! Give it back! Wow! Perplexing. Batlekun, you sure it was Aunt Rosa? He stirred, didn't he? Well, even I was half asleep, so I'm not too sure, but I get the feeling that in the early morning, Aunt Rosa came in and fished around in Maria's handbag. I figured there was probably a tube of toothpaste or something in there. Why would there be a tube of toothpaste in Maria's handbag? Looks like you were a little more than half asleep. Battler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she'd started rampaging around, saying that someone had opened the envelope she'd been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured that Rosa had probably come and opened the envelope. A letter from the Golden Witch. I wonder what was inside. I don't know. But that envelope was for Grandfather's personal use, and it had the Ishurumaya family crest on it. Whatever was inside it must have had some connection to the family conference. She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday, Maria had shown that envelope off to Battler and the rest a whole lot. Ain't it funny how Rosa had a letter as well, and we haven't seen what that letter was about, have we? So they remembered it well. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Mama, give it back. Mama, give it back. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wow. Like a werewolf. Well, if you're right, it'd have to be pretty important. Why would this mighty witch give something that important to Maria? I don't get it. If once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of thunder, it was only natural. Since the moment they'd woken up, they hadn't met anyone else. It felt like only they were left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk. Hey, anyone there? Answer me. Jessica called out into the hallway, and eventually an answer came back. It came from the entrance hall. I can hear you. Has something happened? It's Dr. Nanjo. Thank goodness. It looks like everyone but us hasn't disappeared from this island after all. Dr. Nanjo, good morning. Sorry, but do you know where our parents went? Dear me. I only just woke up and came here, you see. I have no way of knowing for sure, but let's see. It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest just like the rest of them. He'd come just now to pass the time in the parlour until breakfast. Oh. Dr. Nanjo, Mama took it. Mama took my letter. Give it back, oh. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by this ruckus so early in the morning. Ah, someone's running this way. Jessica, someone's coming. From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. They saw Goda and Cannon coming towards them. Normally it would be disgraceful for a servant to run inside the mansion, and yet Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. But the two servants seemed to have bigger things on their minds than Jessica, who was waving at them. Goda flew into the servant room, and when Cannon noticed that Nanjo was there, he bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear. What did you say? Rosa-san did? Yes. I'll guide you, so please accompany me. Understood. This way. Without saying anything more than that, Cannon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he was calm. He wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurried they were, Battler and the rest realised that yes, something bad really had happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room, which had been flung open. He was holding the receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that they realised that he was trying to call a hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred. Let's have a look. Yeah. Mama, give it back. Give back my letter. It's an invitation to the Golden Land. They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battler and the rest chased after Cannon and Nanjo. And then we realised. Cannon couldn't have called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us. So we shouldn't have gone with them. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when she chased after that rabbit holding a clock. Alice in Wonderland style. Here we go. No, you mustn't go in. You mustn't look. Jessica-chan, no. Eek! No! Mother, father, what happened? Oh. What the hell is this? This goes way beyond bad taste. Isn't taking someone's life bad enough? What the hell is this? Going to all the trouble after they died of sitting them on chairs, slicing their stomachs and pulling their entrails out. I guess sort of House of Wax feelings. Like, not dolls, but similar. You went to all the trouble of stuffing their stomachs full of sweets? Why? Why the hell would you do something so fucked up? Damn it, damn it. Nice job, you bastard. Just great. Just great. Gah. It would be best if everyone went outside. They certainly wouldn't want you all to see them like this. Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one listened. Rosa-san, please tell them. If they keep looking at something like this, it'll do nothing but harm. Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realised that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked up instead of standing around stunned. So the children had come here. They had seen it. Surely at this very moment, they were having a sight burned into their eyes. That was far more grotesque than the shocking meal Rosa had witnessed in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene, Rosa cried for them and their parents. The four groaning and crying voices, their sadness, continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love. Oh wow, why are things there? Oh no, maybe not, I don't know. You piece of crap. Again, another one of these murders? And this time, you made it all elaborate, killing them like it's a total joke. Cackle, cackle. I was rather hoping you'd thank me, not cry out in grief. Thank you? Did you say I should thank you, you old bitch? Damn it, if there's something wrong with your ears, I'll cut them both off so you can hear better. Why should I have to see that insane way of killing and say, oh, thank you very much, Beatrice-sama. I'll beat your brains out. In the last game, you lamented the fact that you couldn't see your parents' faces after they died, yes? So this time, I left them. Didn't touch them. Take a good look, for without a doubt, your father and the rest have been killed. Really? What a nice treat. I'm so fucking happy. I swore I'd plough your face after I choked the life out of you, but I'll take that back now. I'll rip out your guts instead. Don't give in to emotion. Don't stop thinking. My game has already begun, right? I decided to leave you neat and tidy corpses this time. Do you know why? When you denied my existence in the last game, you used this line of thinking. Their faces were crushed, so the identity of the corpses can't be confirmed. Therefore, we can't eliminate the possibility that fake corpses were prepared to create an alibi. Unless that possibility is denied, a human culprit theory can still be built. What do you say? So, Battler, is it okay to leave the examination of the corpses to Nanjo? Isn't it traditional in mystery novels for the doctor who performs such examinations to be an accomplice? Then don't leave the examination to him. Do it yourself. Make completely sure that without a doubt, the 6 corpses are the 6 people they're supposed to be. That they really, really are dead, not just pretending. If you wish to confirm that your father and mother have been killed by having their stomachs cut open and their entrails pulled out, you best stick your hand inside their stomachs and feel around. I love that laugh that pops up now and again. I won't cry. Damn it, I won't cry. Battler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both eyes. Whoever's responsible for this piece of work, I'll make them pay back their debt completely. So this isn't the time to cry. Gotta think about what to do. It's useless. It's all useless. If you've got enough time to cry, then think. This is no time to let yourself cry. Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more of an evasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, it gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who'd been crushed by the sadness. That's right. Even if we cry, it won't change the reality of what has happened. Damn it. Damn it. Then what should we do? What should I do for Mum and Dad's sake? Rose the hammer. I've returned. Go to Sam. What happened with the police? What did they say to do? Did they say when they think they'll be able to get here? As to that, it seems the phones have been broken down. I also tried the emergency wireless, but maybe it's the weather, but this isn't working either. What did you say? So we can't contact the police? It's that person. They did something to the phone line, made it so we can't reach the cops. When she heard that the phones had been broken down, Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to grow even redder with rage. There's no need to talk about it, right? I understand everything. That's right, I get it. Who killed Dad and Mom? It's obviously her. It's gotta be that witch, or whatever who came yesterday. I'll grab her by the collar. Damn it. Jessica-chan, wait. Goda-san, Kanan-kun, go! Yes, ma'am. Milady, wait. It's like she picked Pokemon or something. Go! Covering her uncontrollable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who'd arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this moment, she's just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica in a rash rampage. Goda and Kanan picked up on this immediately and chased after her. Could the guest that no one invited, Beatrice, be the culprit? I understand how Jessica feels. I wish I could think that too. It doesn't matter who, I want someone to be the culprit so I can bash them right in the face. But before that, we need a clear understanding of what's going on. Who is this Beatrice? I haven't even seen her face. If you're looking for her face, it decorates the big portrait in the mansion. You still don't remember after looking at it for so long? Come on, Maria. What's so funny in a situation like this? Beatrice is a witch, and the ceremony to open the door to the Golden Land has finally begun. Those 6 people are sacrifices. Come, let's begin the witches' banquet. Tonight is Halloween, so now the witches will gather to celebrate. Maria, don't I always tell you not to laugh with that creepy voice? The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high ceiling of the chapel. That's a fair slap, to be fair. Like some of the others maybe not, but that one, yeah. Ever since it started raining yesterday, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived in Rockinjima, but since I'd gotten up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it had already started raining, and ever since that time, suddenly a mysterious visitor calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice arrived, and it felt like I was sinking, bit by bit, into a bizarre world. What the heck happened while I was napping? Am I supposed to believe this island was sealed off inside a different world, where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? Is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem, just like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is this the culprit, this witch from the Legend of the Gold, just like Maria said? Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say that this visitor person is the most suspicious. But we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. It's useless, it's useless, it's all useless. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brains before they overloaded, even though it might have been a wasted effort. This is one of Grandfather's envelopes. On a tray piled up with sweets that decorated the table, George and Nikki found a Western envelope that had the Ishimaya family crest done on it in gold leaf. And it was unopened. Which means it's probably meant for us, right? If it was something Dad and the others read, it should be open. It seems your reasoning is correct. It's written right here. Someone wrote, "To those who remain." Is that a letter to the culprit left? Or the culprit left? What's inside? Sorry if you can hear like a chainsaw outside, they're doing trees. Some fell down last night. Nikki, let's open it. After nodding silently, George and Nikki broke the seal. A folded letter came out. I'll read it. Welcome to Rokkanjima, members of the Ishimaya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family employed by Kinzo-sama himself. That letter really was a joke. This Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she'd lent Grandfather along with interest. And that interest was everything Grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes, as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring just to the wealth that Grandfather had built up. It was literal. Everything that Grandfather had created. In other words, all of Grandfather's descendants were included in the interest. You bastard. What a screwed up contract. Lives as interest for gold, you say? That's almost like a contract with the devil, isn't it? You think that makes you look more like a witch? Ha, don't make me laugh. Special clause. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. In other words, it's something like this. If these murders represent her collecting interest, then she's telling us to try and find the gold she gave Grandfather if we want her to stop. And she's also saying that the secret pointing to the gold is hidden in the portrait epitaph. So basically, this is a letter of a challenge from the witch. She's telling us to try and solve the code that points to the hidden gold if we can. And if we can't, she'll keep collecting the interest as planned. I'll beat you to death. Bring it on. Battler-kun. Look, look. The table was covered with sweets, so even though those things were right out in the open, we just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on, you see them a lot, right? You know, those boxes of chocolate shaped like gold ingots. I've never actually seen one in real life. I think there was one in Charlie Chocolate Factory. This is no box of candy. It's the real thing. Or gold bars. Chocolate, I guess. This is a real gold bar. It's inscribed with the crest of the one-winged eagle. I heard Mother talking about this earlier. It's a gold bar from Grandfather's Legend of the Gold. Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilos, a whole 3 of them, were piled up in the very centre of the table. It was where a cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference. If these are really 4 nines quality ingots, gulp, it's worth about 60 million yen. Dumbass, that's too cheap. Our parents have been killed, and all you got is this pile of just 60 million yen in gold? Don't take us for fools, damn it. So it has begun, Beatrice. It's not like anyone can solve this riddle anyway, so Beto will definitely win. Quickly, open the door to the Golden Land, and take me with you. Okay, so we've had our first sacrifices. What time was it? 6 o'clock, wasn't it, in the morning? But now, next time we're going to be going on to about 7:15, so yeah, it's going to be a lot happening in a short time frame, I suppose, now. So, we're going to end things off there. That was a hell of an episode. Oh, I love it when this series gets going, it really does well. So, this has been Greeny XI. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit, when we see what happens after the deaths of the parents, or most of the parents, except for Rosa. Let's check out the tips before I do get off. Characters. Yeah, here we go. So we've got these 6 in red. Eva, Hideyoshi, Kraus, Natsui, Rudolph, Kyrie. Yeah, some of the... Yeah, so there we go. Some of the more interesting ones, I think. But the kids are the most interesting to me. And obviously Beto as well. Beatrice. Yeah. Okay, so... Thanks again for watching, folks. I'll see you again in a bit.